What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is actually Christmas Eve. We just got done doing gifts and stuff like that, and I figured I'd come out to the shop and make a video, kind of give you an update where we're at with the Corvette. So MB Drift, where I do my drifting with, our grassroots series, our competition series, just released our schedule for next year, and I got about 2.5 months to get this car done. It's currently took all the way apart, trans, diff, motor, everything's out, and I've ordered a ton of parts to put in this thing. So we're just gonna kind of go over plans for this year coming up and where we're at, because I have a lot of work to do, because we're changing motors, engine management. I mean, we're changing a lot of stuff. So let's just get into it. And I'd like to thank everyone that has subscribed, because we just hit 7,000 subscribers today. And last year at this time we hit 1,000, and I was blown away. I couldn't believe we had that many, and here we are at 7,000. So thank everybody, and I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and a good New Year. So we've been prepping this 6.2 for the car. Cam bearings look absolutely mint in this thing, which is kind of incredible. I think this thing had right at 100,000 miles. But I got a custom cam from Tick Performance. I have my buddy Dustin that works there. He spec'd me out a cam for everything I got going on. I sent my other 6.2 heads off to Texas Speed to get port and polished and decked. Transmission is under here, taking it apart currently. My 5.6 gear main shaft gear set is pressed on, but normally they slide right off because transmissions are wore out, and obviously I must have a good one because mine's on there really tight. I broke the actual puller that you use to pull that off, so I couldn't even tear it down the rest of the way. As you can see, that's about as far as we got with the trans tear down, because I got to get that gear off to continue on. But I'm actually taking 1, 2, and 3, and 4 and send them off the Liberty transmission, and they're gonna faceplate them. Next year, I'm talking to another company about an angle kit, so we're probably getting rid of the mini kit. I know I've been on this kit for almost 2 years, and it's been amazing, but I think I need more angle now. I'm driving so aggressive that, you can see where it's been hitting, but with the wheel in the car, it doesn't even come close to that. But the way this kit is, it has no steering stops. So I can probably show you on the other side what I mean. This is usually what breaks racking pinions on Corvettes. Luckily, I haven't broke mine yet, but I started doing some looking, and I seen that, and I'm like, I'm not even close to that with the wheel in the car. And then I got to looking at this inner tie rod is wore slap out, and they're new. So then I got to looking, with the wheel on, I could force this, which the subframe's dropped down now. But the way, you can see the angle that that's pulling back at. So what's happening is the force from drifting is actually making this rotate more by pulling the rack that way. So the strap that goes across the rack is bad about braking on these, which FDF just come out with something to prevent that. But I don't like the added side load on the shaft there from this being pulled. So the new angle kit should help correct some of that geometry, and it will have steering stops, so I don't have to run as much angle. The mini kit is a great kit, I'm not gonna lie. I've absolutely loved it. It drives very well, but it's time for an upgrade. We're driving so aggressive that we need more angle now. As far as engine bay goes, I'm not even really gonna clean it, because what's the point? Radiator did great last year. That's the one from Eastwood that I put in. Yeah, it's been great, so I'm not even touching that. Power steering, turn one, done my rack and my pump last year. Like, normally a GM pump will whine when they get warm, but I got that big power steering cooler with a fan. This thing has never overheated the power steering one time. It's been perfect. Oil cooler set up. That line's got some leakage going on, so we're gonna do new lines, new cooler up front, but the block worked great, so I'm gonna leave that. I gotta get all the harness out of here. We'll get to those in a minute. We got a Holley Terminator over there we're gonna throw on it. As far as interior goes, I might put my other seat in since I never got around to it last year. What else? So I'm talking to the same company. I'm thinking about using their angle kit in the front. They're coming out with a new grip kit for the rear that has a dual caliber mount. So these are my Drift HQ dual caliber setup. Last event, I would have noise, like a grinding noise. I thought maybe the brake pads were getting low, which them are poly matrix pads. They wear pretty significantly. Like they put off a lot of dust. But then I started seeing this metal shavings. And then I was on the lift and I've seen that. Not sure if you can see that. I'm just kind of pointing the camera wherever. You should be able to see that. The bracket's actually broke. So a couple more hand pulls and this thing would have probably broke the rest of the way off and been real bad. So yeah, so we're gonna change those out. Hopefully I'll go with the grip kit that'll have different pickup points for squat and grip and science. So I found these headers on Facebook Marketplace. Anybody that knows anything about Corvettes, these are LG Pros. These are like true long tube headers, where my headers now, the collector starts here. These run on down and back there. And then they have this super nice merge collector. It's just a little smaller here and it helps squeeze the air and it speeds up and it just, again, science. But these things have the beefiest collector I've ever seen. I don't know if you can see that, how thick that is. These things are amazing. So the guy had these on a C6. Obviously I got a C5, but the headers themselves will fit. And I kind of want to do something different with the exhaust. I'm not going to run the Corsa next year. So I'm going to just do some custom stuff. The original plan was I wanted to put a set of these on there, but these things are like $2,200. And I found a guy that had these on Facebook Marketplace for $800. He had them on his C6 for about 500 miles. So I wanted to do these with a set of oval tubes out the back, do like an oval X pipe and all this elaborate stuff, but I'm just adding way too much to the build. I gotta get this thing done. 2.5 months is gonna go quick. So one of my sponsors, Shift Fast, hooked me up with an alternator. I've been having problems with my alternator. I have to rev it every time I crank it, like rev it to $2,000 to get it to kick in. So they hooked me up with this. Super nice Power Master. So this thing should definitely have enough power to run some stuff. In this box, I got my Tick Performance shifter. And we got 390 gears because the gear ratio on this thing is absolutely terrible. Then we have a DEI torque tube tunnel shield. So keep some of the heat off the tunnel and off of the actual torque tube, because the rubber couplers in the torque tube don't like heat, and all the heat from this exhaust being right under it, this is gonna kind of block it, and it help keep the clutch fluid cool. So that's the Holley Terminator. We got an ATI Super Damper, AccuSump cable kit, because I got an AccuSump up here for extra measures. And then this is the AMT mounts that I had last year. Great mounts, by the way. And on the LS3, you have to modify your factory C5 brackets. So I kind of did that last year when I had an LS3 in here and it blew up. My buddy at Monkey Fab started selling wire, and this is some like manufacturer grade wire. Like this is some really super nice stuff. Real thin, super, like this is, I mean, basically, I think what I read on his website was this same stuff that Chrysler and I think Ford uses in their harnesses. So if you need wire, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I think this is a 25-foot roll of 16 gauge. I think I paid $3.50 or $4 for 25 feet. Don't quote me on that, but just get on their website and look them up. That's his logo, Monkey Fab. Hit him up if you need anything. And we'll move on to what else I got here. I got this MSD. This is a standalone relay. So basically Terminator can control this, or you can control this with toggle switches. You can do ground inputs or power inputs. So it gives you 4 outputs And you don't even need fuses for this. This thing has a circuitry built in to where if something happens, it trips stuff up. But yeah, you got like, pretty much you feed it with like a 4 gauge right here. And yeah, you can, and if, I think it does 25 amps or 20 amps each spot. So if you need 40 amps, you can double these up and run it to one thing and it'll give you the 40 amps you need. So I think that's an 80 amp total setup. Then we got lifter trays for days, ARP crank bolt, Corvette diff seals, another spool kit for the diff because I didn't feel like taking the other one apart. Barbell, canton, the AccuSump holder, and that's the AccuSump one-way valve because I'm running an oil cooler. But yeah, we got a good bit of stuff already. So my goal is just get this car dialed up and just working, because one thing I hate is having issues at the track. And there is a lot of things you can do to prevent having issues at the track, simply overlooking stuff. So I'm trying to overbuild so it's in between, or it's a good happy medium. It works, not a whole lot of maintenance. You know, honestly, last year I might have changed the oil 3 times, which ultimately might have helped the other motor start ticking. I think it's got a lifter going bad, which I'm not surprised. 7,200 RPM all year long. And mainly because the gear ratio being so terrible. I had to use first gear for a lot of stuff. First gear's wheel speed was like 60 miles an hour, which was enough for tight technical stuff. But when you get on like the big banks, I'd have to use second gear, and it still was right there at the rev limiter all the time. So with the 6.2, I'm hoping it has enough torque to where I can kind of bump it down to 6,500 and make it happy. But things are coming in, and I'll keep you updated as we go along. Corvette's gonna be a ripper next year. And yeah, my goal for next year, because every event I set goals, and next year's goal is I would love to just podium. If I get a 3rd place finish, that would make my whole year. Because, you know, like I always say, you have to drive with better drivers to get better. And there's gonna be some heavy hitters this year. So I think that's gonna be it for this one. I guess if you want, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and next year is gonna be pretty epic because, like I say, this year, I used this year as practice. Never really tandem before. I hopped straight into a competition to get that practice. And honestly, the competition pushed me harder than just tandem with buddies. So I love that about it. So I guess next year we're gonna come out swinging and try to bring us home a podium. But appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.